10:19, Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and the fabulous Ellie Costello. Got the panel with us here. But before we introduce them, should we introduce them now? Matthew Talbot, former Labour advisor, and my former friend from the Institute of Economic Affairs. You're much grander now. What's your title now?
I'm the Director of Popular Conservatives.
Director of Popular Conservatives. You forgot his tie.
Yeah.
Mark Littlewood.
No, I wear a tie in the evening, not all day.
That's what you call Popular Conservatives. They wear a tie. Now, I want you gentlemen to listen to this interview with Bridget Philipson, who is our illustrious Secretary of State for Education, when she was asked a pretty simple question.
Called another kid, said that they smelt like fish. Surely you would accept, on the face of it, that that's preposterous for the police to be involved?
As a point of principle, and I mean this sincerely, I think it's unwise for politicians to get involved in discussions around operational policing matters.
Yeah, but the point is that you're the Education Secretary, so you're in charge of what happens in our classrooms. 2 points. As you say, I am responsible for what happens in our classrooms. I'm not responsible for the police forces in our country.
So what she was asked was the police were called because a 9-year-old, no, he said to another child in the classroom, "You smell of fish." Now, she's read this report. It was in the Times today. She read it yesterday. She says she can't make any comment, even in principle, as to whether it's right or wrong. Has the world gone mad?
Well, she's gone mad, hasn't she, Andrew? I mean, it's quite clearly wrong in principle. You might say, as a rider, I haven't read all of the details. Perhaps, a punch was thrown or threatened to be thrown. But in principle, it is absolutely bananas. And she accepts she's responsible for what happens in the classroom. Well, why on earth does she have no opinion about what happened in this classroom, which seems to be a complete overreaction to a minor tiff?
I mean, Matthew, even Rachel Reeves has come out and said that the Chancellor has said this is a waste of police time. I mean, why can't Bridget Philipson say that?
It's a question for Bridget Philipson. I don't know. I struggle to think this is actually what's happened. Surely this isn't the case. There must be... For the police to be involved, it must be something to do with the parents and both parents having a go. I cannot believe that someone has said someone smells of fish and the police have gone to go and see.
She's Secretary of State for Education. She was told about this yesterday. She had a good 20 hours to get to the bottom. She's the Secretary of State for Education, Matthew. She could get to the head teacher. She could get to the police force involved. It's not difficult. I was raging at the screen thinking, for God's sake, woman, just say in principle this is insanity.
I think in principle...
don't want police officers in classrooms with 9-year-olds.
No, I agree.
Think of the terrible things people used to call me at school, and vice versa.
Yeah, me as well.
Worse than that.
I think in principle, you're right. I suppose...
Why couldn't she say that then?
Well, I suppose if you're going to get involved in every classroom squabble that may come up on the news, it's a very dangerous precedent to set. And I can't believe I'm in the position of...
police going in to feel the collar of a 9-year-old, Matthew.
I agree, but it could be a dangerous precedent to set. I can't believe I'm sat here sort of trying to defend this because it is ludicrous. But if I'm trying to be fair, if she's to weigh in on every little thing that comes up, then obviously she's got greater priorities than just that. As the
she seems determined to weigh in on nothing. She's going to hide behind the cloak of I don't comment on anything at all operational. So any operational matter that happens in any classroom on any basis, involving the police or not, apparently is not within her purview. What's the point of her being the Secretary of State for Education?
And she's quite a controlling Education Secretary too.
Well, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Is she? I don't know. Is that a statement or a question?
I mean, she's hands-on. She's appointed a new education czar. She gave us a view on assisted dying. A lot of cabinet ministers we thought the suggestion was going to be cabinet going to keep out of it because they don't want to put pressure on backbenchers. She's told us today, another cabinet minister, she's not in support of it. So, and that's a very complicated issue. She gave a response. So I just think it's staggering. Teachers must be pulling their hair out.
Well, they might be. And listen, it will be a case of Labour politicians being scared of their own shadow. And I've seen this now for the last decade, where people are terrified to have an opinion because they are governed via Twitter and are worried about any little comment that will come against them or what the party membership may say. And really, it's... People at home will likely be doing what you're doing and going, why won't you just answer the question?
Surely
that's what
here,
people have done for years.
The political price for having no opinion is higher than the political price of expressing an opinion. And look, I think it would have been fine if she said, look, I haven't got to the bottom of it yet. I did put in some inquiries yesterday. I don't know all the details. I'm getting to the bottom of it because it looks pretty strange. She's not even willing to go that far.
Yeah, no, if it was me trying to give her a line and we expected this to come, I would say maybe you should say we haven't got all the details. This sounds very concerning to me and I'd like to look into it further. That way you're not actually saying anything, but you're getting away with not saying anything.
But these non-crime hate incidents, which is what they're called, they need to be looked at, don't they, when there's children as young as 9 being reported to the police for them. And then you've got priests and vicars was also reading in the papers over the weekend. I mean, that's ludicrous, is it?
It is. I think I'm right in saying if
and
you're 9...
it's a waste of police time and resources.
Aren't you below the age of criminal liability anyway?
It's 10.
So
it's 10 in England.
So, I mean, you can't... You're not going to arrest a 9-year-old.
It's non-crime. This is the weird thing of the... And I think the problem with this is there is a difference between something being grossly offensive, as the law deems it, which I think is very vague language in the first place, and something that is incitement. And I think, you know, one person's offence is another person's joke, and we have to be careful. And I think part of this is the law was set, you know, whenever it was set, and we would laugh at things 20 years ago that we might not laugh at now when society changes. So the law needs to be looked at.
Do you know what made me think? We were talking earlier, guys, about there's been a break-in at a farm on the Windsor Royal Park Estate. A month ago, nobody been caught. Welcome to the real world. We had 2 coppers turn up at the home of Alison Pearson, a journalist over what is it called, a non-crime hate incident over a year ago. No wonder nobody turns up when you get burgled. No wonder when there's shoplifters ransacking your shop. It doesn't reach a certain threshold of £250, the police don't investigate. Because they're doing all this nonsense.
Yeah, you've got to question the priorities. I suppose, let me try and find some sort of sympathy for the police here.
It's the people who direct them, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not the police officers.
Exactly.
They do a great job.
In the ranks as well.
Exactly. Once they've got their targets and their framework set for them, if that framework is, you know, we need to make sure that there's sort of less offensive things on Twitter than there were previously in Essex, they all respond to that incentive. It's why I was a bit disturbed about Keir Starmer saying that, firstly, this was talking about free speech and hurt feelings. Firstly, obviously, this is a matter for the police themselves, police force by police force. Well, I don't think it is. I think it's a matter for politicians who set the framework. I don't want the police force deciding, in our area, Twitter is more important than breaking into Windsor Castle. I want politicians to set that framework. And the Prime Minister seems about as vague as the Secretary of State for Education.
And the framework does need to be looked at, because actually the fundamental use of a non-crime hate incident was to tackle terrorism, because as we know, terrorists would use social media, wouldn't they, to recruit, to spread their message. So in terms of like the Prevent programme, tackling something on social media before it becomes something much more serious is obviously very useful. But when you're seeing 9-year-old children then being given non-crime hate incidents, that's that.
Well, what do you make to his point about you do want direction from the top? Shouldn't be each police force has a different view?
It's a dereliction of duty, I think, by the Prime Minister, downwards.
Right.
Because I just think the language in the bill itself is vague. There's loopholes within it. We have to be able to... because it's all about opinions. What is grossly offensive? Your threshold for offence may be much larger than others, and something you could say to me I might laugh at. In fact, we've got ourselves in a situation. You could say, my beard looks terrible today. I would laugh at it.
You say that every week.
I know, I'm sure you would. Somebody at home could report you and be offended on my behalf, which would be totally sweet of them or whatever. I could totally handle myself.
Say there, you can report me. I don't like Matthew Talbot's beard. But it's not personal, I just don't like beard.
But why do we care about things being grossly offensive?
Yeah. No,
it's not a police matter. It's a matter of just courtesy.
And get on with it.
Get on with it. So what? You know, I care about people being punched, robbed, mugged, that sort of stuff. I don't care about people being offended. That's certainly not a matter for the cops.
Well, let us know what you think on that one. You'll have an opinion, gbnews.com/your say. Look, Matthew, we need to look at our favourite story of the day. Andrew and I love this one. Tell us about Mo Farah. In the Times today.
Sir Mo Farah.
Sir Mo Farah,
Mo Farah's took a leaf out of my book. I had to do this last year. So
tell us more.
He's had his... Well, I was on a night out in north-west London, and this girl had her phone robbed. And in a glory of haze, I thought, no, someone has to do something.
Is a glory of haze alcohol?
At the time, yes. I don't drink anymore. There's probably a good reason for it. I ran down the road after this fella, booted him to the floor and got the phone back.
Did you get it back? Oh, good for you.
But no, but the problem was I then saw sort of this gang sort of surrounding and looking. I thought, I need to get in a taxi quick. Now, this has been organised and I shouldn't really be getting involved.
Did you get the phone back to the girl?
Yeah, the girl and the boyfriend and whatever got the phone back. But you are putting... But the problem is, you think about it afterwards and you go, you're putting your life in your own hands in London because...
Probably grossly offended somebody as well.
He could have reported me for assault, in fairness, you know. But yeah, no, fair play to Mo Farah. He's had his phone nicked and he's legged it after the fella and got it back. Good for him.
Of course he has.
Yeah, imagine looking in the mirror. Oh, I can outstrip him.
And it's picked on the wrong victim.
But he's, and of course he's a wiry, stocky fella, but he's not a big lad.
No, he's not a big lad.
Yeah.
I mean, all credit to him. I'm going to be honest, I would be a complete coward in these circumstances. I mean, it's a real pain if you get your phone stolen.
Oh, no,
it's not a total disaster.
No,
I could get a new one and get it backed up within 24 hours.
No.
And, you know, I wonder why people bother nicking these things. They're worth a lot less than they were back in the day. I remember the day when people would smash in the windscreen of a car to nick your transistor radio, for God's sake.
Yes.
And, you know, so, you know, fair play to him. Fair play to you, Matthew, as well. But I've got to say, Mo Farah and Matthew are both rather braver men than me. I would gladly surrender my iPhone in those circumstances.
I would give chase over my phone.
Would you?
I really would. I can't stand it. It's just too irritating.
Well, it's awful. I don't get my phone out now.
They blame me over like a fly, of course, because I weigh 9 stone nothing. But still.
Yeah, it's the principle that counts.
Do you think they would look in the mirror and think, oh, my God? They just think... Wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably about the same build as Mo Farah, but I suspect rather slower than him.
It's such a sophisticated operation now. I mean, if they take your phone in London, let's say on a Saturday night, it would be in Eastern Europe by the Sunday morning.
Of course it would.
And I know that because I had a friend who had a phone stolen, and it was in Eastern Europe.
There's the black market. My friend had theirs. It turned up in China. Somebody's obviously worked out a way to jailbreak iPhones and stuff, and you can make quick, easy cash out of stolen.
The real question is, Eddie, what do you think of Matthew Talbot's beard?
I don't love it.
There we are.
I'll be honest.
All right, you know.
I'm not drawing you into it, Mark. He's going to be diplomatic.
Matthew, Mark, we've got to leave it there. Probably best we do. Thank you very much indeed. Let's have a look at your news headlines.